my name's Hannah Veerkamp. I'm the Creative Experience Resource Specialist at St. Louis Public Library, and this is the 5th of our spring series of free online media production tools. So we've been doing them once each month, and today we're going to be talking about Canva. You can find the previous programs on our YouTube channel, and at the end of this presentation, we'll have a link to that. If you're here today, we'll send you this presentation so you can have a hyperlink that you can click on. If you're watching this on YouTube later, then you know where our YouTube channel is, but you'll have that information, and you're also welcome to email us if you'd like a copy of this presentation. First, I just want to mention Creative Experience is a digital makerspace at St. Louis Public Library, and so we have 2 locations, Central Library and Bar Library, and we are open to the public now, so you're welcome to come in and use our resources. We've got a lot of creative software and hardware that is available for use for free. So we've got the Adobe Creative Suite, additional audio and video editing programs. We've got recording rooms at both locations. We have a large format printer. We have a laser cutter, 3D printers, and just a lot of great resources. So at the end of this slideshow, we will have a link to our page too, so you can find out more about it. So please do come and visit us. We also continue to have curbside services as well as virtual programs. And like I said, you can find all of these programs on our YouTube channel, as well as other programs that staff, people, and guests have offered for Creative Experience. So a lot of great resources there. So again, today we're going to be talking about Canva. We wanted to do this free online media production tools. During the pandemic, people haven't had as much access to the free resources that we offer, and so we wanted to highlight tools that are available for free and online without having to download software to your device. So we've gone over some different audio, video, graphic design programs throughout the spring. So today we're talking about Canva, and Canva is a free online graphic design and publishing platform, and you can use it to create social media posts, posters, brochures, video presentations, and it comes with a variety of templates, and all of the elements of the templates are customizable. So you can change the font, the photo, the color, all different aspects of it. So it's a great place if you're not sure how to get started. You can also just start from scratch, but sometimes it's easier to jump in with something that's there and then figure out how you want to tweak it rather than having everything completely from scratch. You can work individually with the free account. You can work individually, or you can invite team members to work with you and share, and then you can save up to 5 gigabytes of content on your free account online. We're going to be demoing the desktop version today, and it can be used on Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Microsoft Edge. There are also mobile versions available for both iPhones, iOS, and Android phones. So you can find those as well. We're not going to be going into them in specific today, but you can find them as well. And so to get started, you just either navigate to canva.com, or if you do want to use a mobile device, you can download and install the app. And then you need to have a free account to use these, but you can either sign in with Google or Facebook, or you can just create a free account using your email. There are some limitations with the free version. In particular, like a lot of these programs, what you can do to edit audio and video is limited. There are not a lot of transitions that you can add, and you can't add multiple layers at a time. But one thing that's nice about the video in this program versus some of the others that we've talked about is that you can trim a HD video and add an intro and outro slide and share it without adding a watermark. Some of the other apps that we've looked at either have lower quality video or else have a watermark at the end. So this is nice. And then there's another limitation with the sizing. So the free version just allows certain sizes based on the templates. And it wants you to have a pro account if you want to resize those. There are some ways around that. You can start with creating an image from scratch and then drag over a template, and then after you tell it what size, you may not see all of the templates available that way. So just something to keep in mind, but usually there are ways to work around it. The other option would be to create something like, say you're creating a postcard and they only had the template in a certain size. you could save it as an image, and then you could open it into another free image editing program like either Paint on Microsoft or Preview on a Mac, and then you could resize it in that. So there's some ways around it, but that's just one of the limitations. So most of the presentation today, I'm just going to open up the program. I'm going to go through making a few different things, customizing, and just kind of experimenting with these. Are there any questions before we get started? And if you have any questions as we go, feel free to put them in the chat. All right. So I'm going to just switch my share. This is what you'll be greeted with when you log in for the first time. And this is a comparison of free versus pro. I definitely recommend starting with free, and it has plenty of everything for most people's needs. If you're working with a business and are doing a lot of this, you may consider the pro version, but it has additional stock photos and videos and graphics, but the free version has a lot already and a lot of free templates. It gives you more space of storage, so there's that. And it also gives you, like I mentioned, the resizing, and allows you to save templates, certain things like that. The big thing that it offers is to schedule social media content ahead of time. So if you're doing a lot of social media for a business, it might be worth it to you to consider pro. Otherwise, for most of us, free is going to work great, and it's definitely a good place to start. So I would recommend that. And then to sign up, like I said, you just use either your Gmail or Facebook if you like, or create an account with an email. And so once you log in, you'll have this kind of dashboard. And so these are some designs that I've created previously, so they'll show up there. And like I said, you can save up to 5 gigabytes of stuff, and they automatically save on there. And then you have all of these different options so that you can kind of look through the type of thing that you want to do. And there's, like a lot of these programs, there's different ways that you can navigate through it versus going to templates over here or just starting with the category. I like starting with these because then it brings up a workspace that you already have ready that you can drag things into. So for example, we'll go under print products here, and I'm going to go to business card. And so I like this option because it gives me my workspace, and then I can drag things over. The other, I could get to it the same way if I went under here, but instead I'm looking at all the options here, and then I have to click on one, and then I get to, then I have to say to use this template, and then I just have to navigate a few more steps. So I like going this way, and just going to go back to here to the business card. And then to get started, you just choose one of these that you want to use as a good starting place. And they have them in categories, but you can change all the font and everything. So you could use, this doesn't have to be just for a web designer. You could use it for anything. So I'm going to start with this one because it has a photo on it. And you can see that the font is customizable. This image is customizable. And I'm going to make a business card for creative experience. So I'm going to start by, you can either use photos that are here in the stock photos, or you can upload something from your computer. And you also have the option to link to a Google Drive account if you have one. So I've already done that. And these images of my colleague are already in my Google Drive. So I'm going to take, I'm just going to grab one of these, and I'm going to drag it. And you can see when I hover, if I hover right over the other one, it'll automatically click on there, and then it'll change to the filter that is in there. So like the black and white. But I want to make sure that the mic is in there. So if I double click into this, I can either move the photo around, but it doesn't quite fit. So I can also hover down here to where it's cropped and stretch it out a little bit. So I can do that and just make sure that I want to fit her and headphones both in. So then I just click out of it. But that didn't make, it didn't show up on here, so I can't see it. So what I want to do, let's see, when I'm in here, so you can see that there's these little crop lines here. I can start to spread it out so that I reveal a little bit more. And this one is on the other side of the, I have to drag it over on to make sure it stays in the canvas, so I can do it this way. A lot of this is a little trial and error like this, but this way I get this much. Now what it did is it made this writing a little bit overlap, so I can click on here and just drag it, and then I could click on the corner and just push shift so that things don't get skewed and resize it. So I'm going to resize that, and I'm just going to kind of try to line it up with what looks good to my eye. I'm just kind of like lining that up with this line here. And then I'll just double click on it, and then I'm going to write creative experience. And it's already, and so it automatically made 2 lines. It's already uppercase. I could change the font here. I like this self-expression at its finest tag, so I'm just going to leave that, but I could change that if I wanted. So if I wanted to change any of these other things, I could just highlight. I could try a different font. I don't like that one. Try that. If I change some of them, it messes up the spacing, so I might have to go back and just start to shrink it, or I guess I have to mess with it till it has enough space. So probably what I would need to do is actually, there we go, just change the size a little bit so that it can fit in. So right now I have 2 different fonts. So I could do this one the same, or I could decide that that one I want to be really different. Like maybe I want to have that one something else. So I'm just, the way that I would recommend approaching this is just kind of like trying it to see what looks good, you know? So I like that one all right, but it's still, it's too big to fit there. So I would shrink that one down. I like it on one line. And if I wanted that to be italicized, I could do that. So there's a lot of things you could play around with. I could also change the color if I wanted to for that one. And then I could go back and right now, because I use this template, this one automatically went to that black and white photo, but I could highlight that. I just click on it, and then I could go into the filter here and click none, and it goes back to normal. I could try any of these ones that I have, maybe retro. These really bright ones, I don't like that very much. Drama. Here's the grayscale that it started, or this one that is called street is just like a little bit darker. And I can adjust the intensity here. Oh, so that one's, see if I go that way, it's not black and white. So maybe I'll leave it like that. You can play around with all of these things. So these are different things that are customizable. If I go back to templates now, I can also change, since I already have my name typed in here, if I drag a different template over, it will automatically change it to creative experience. But it doesn't maintain the photo. So if I wanted to have a photo, I would have to add it in again. And it didn't maintain my, it has a different subtopic, so I would have to change that. I'm just gonna undo. You know, if I wanted to do something like this one with the photo. So some of these have watermarks, and those are the pro ones, so I don't want to use that one. If I wanted to bring this one over, for instance, now this one says creative experience, but it has a different photo. So I could click, I could again go to my photos and drag this photo in and just change those kind of things. I don't like those as much. I'm going to stick with this one, but I just want to show you that you can customize different things. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat, or if you see anything you'd like me to try. I just wanted to kind of go through changing some of these and playing with them. When you find something that you like, Canva does offer the option for print materials like business cards and postcards to print right from their site. And you can click there, and then they do charge you those and send it to you and give you some options. It is a convenient way to do it and something to consider, but you might want to comparison shop and see how their prices compare to other options, because you can also just save this design and then print it on your own, or send it to find another online printer and compare prices. So when you're done, you can download it, and this is recommending the PDF, which I would recommend as well, but you can also do an individual one as a JPEG, something like that. You can show the crops and bleed marks if you want to, and then you would just download it. And so the other option is that you could share it with a person. You could just put in an email. I just want to mention that if I share it with somebody, they're not going to be able to access it unless they create a free Canva account. So just keep that in mind if you are wanting to share it with someone. So those are those options.
Sorry, can you just repeat, what did you say? If we want to share with someone?
If you want to share with someone, you can click on the share button, and you could put I could put your email in here, and then it would send you a link. But in order for you to access it, you would have to have a Canva account. Okay. So you have to be able to open a Canva account. So if I wanted to share it with you and I didn't want to worry about whether you had a Canva account, a better option might be to just download the PDF and then add it as an attachment to the email and send it to you, so that you don't have to get onto Canvas in order to see it.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if I go back here, there is also an option to add team members, create a team. So if you go there, then you can name a team, and then you can have people join, and then you can continue and then add in names. So like if I wanted to work with 5 different people on my team and be going back and forth about making adjustments to something, that would be a nice way to do it, so that we can all work on it. Otherwise, you are more likely to just want to share with a person when it's done, or just download it like that. So that's an option for, that was just an example for a print item like a business card. You could do the same things if you wanted to do something. I just wanted to show a couple of things about the resizing. So for instance, like if you're going to make a postcard, this says template is 5.5 by 4.3. But say I wanted to make my own postcard that was just 4 by 6 or something like that, and I don't want to have to do the pro version to resize it. I can start with a custom size, and I can do actually 6 by 4, and then create new design. And it actually gets a number of templates this way. So I might not see all the ones that I would do with the other version, but this still gives something to start. And a lot of these templates have all the different elements are customizable. So like with this one, these balloons, even, you could just click on it and change one color. You could, if you didn't want to have these parts, you could get rid of this. You could click on here and change this like to congratulations. And then I would probably want to highlight this and change the font smaller until it fits all in one line like that. Some of these things, like depending on the design you choose, but a lot of them are so customizable. Like if I didn't want these balloons, I could just get rid of each of these. These are all their individual elements that either can be have their colors changed or be removed. So maybe I just like these little stars, you know, so I could do this. And now that I have more room, I could make this bigger. I could move these around, or I could copy and then paste another one if I wanted to have more of them around. So there's just a lot of different things you could do with that. And now when I would go to download this one, again, this is where you see, this is the size that we started. If you wanted to change it to a large size or to resize, then it's going to make you pay. It also has pro versions for certain things like making them transparent. So I just wanted to point that out as a way of getting around the sizing. And then any questions so far? I'm going to move on to a presentation and talk about video a little bit too.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
I think it's quick. You were able to choose one of your own photographs. Can you also choose your own graphics? You know, basically, in other words, if you want to start completely custom.
Absolutely. So if you want to do that, I just do create a design, and you could choose one of these things to start with, or you could do a custom size. Let's just say we want to do a flyer. It's completely, this just gives me the orientation, you know, but I could just, there, you know, if I wanted to add text, so there's different ways you could do it. Like if you had something already printed of your own graphic, then you could save it as a PNG or a JPEG and then just upload it as you would a photo. So that's an option. If I wanted to just create my own text, then it gives me some different options. And so I could start with a heading or a subheading. You can choose, but anything that I add, I can always customize these. So I can always choose a different font, a different size, a different color, you know, or I could start with something like this that, you know, is designed and then change the color. So you can totally, completely start from scratch. It's just, sometimes working with the templates just gives you a little bit of an idea of where you want to arrange things, if nothing else. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So you can also make a presentation like a slideshow, and you can start with one of these templates to start. And so let's just, and then these ones all have like different slides built into them. So this is like, you know, they all are a family, they go together. This is the cover, and then they have different ones. So like if we drag the first one over here, I could say, you know, I could just change this. And then if I wanted to, I could change the color. This is a really simple slideshow. If I wanted to add the photos to it, I could either uploads gets my own photos. This gives free photos, you know, so I could add something like this to the background if I wanted to. But let's just say we're keeping it pink because we want to have these things match. And so I'm going to go back to template. And then if I click on here, it shows me all the different ones that match. So I could have a next one and I just drag it to the plus here. But since I changed that, I would probably want to go and change the color to add. And then I could just add different things. If I wanted to add something that has this kind of design, you know, if I wanted to, I could still change this white background to match. I mean, you can do it. This looks terrible, but you get the idea. I'm going to change the font to white, so that looks a little bit better. And then again, you could either add your own photo, you could add one from here. And if I just drag it over, it pops into the that size. And again, you could double click and change the parameters and that sort of thing. But when you have a slideshow, you have a few different options. One is that you can present it directly from Canva. So I can just go ahead and present like this. So, if you're doing a webinar or something like that, this is totally an option that you could do. You could also, if you're clicking on here, you could animate these words so they come in different ways like that, So you can either present it directly from Canva, you can share it like you would, like we talked about previously, but someone would have to open it in Canva, or you can download it as a PDF. You cannot download it to be used directly in Google Slides or PowerPoint. So that's something to know. It has to either be presented in its own view, or else it can be, you can view it as a PDF. You can also view it as a video or a GIF if you wanted to add sound and actually record yourself presenting it. So those are options that you could do too, very similar to PowerPoint and Google Slides. You can also add different elements like video and audio to it, but you can't save those as a PDF version.
We can add some notes too?
Some notes?
Yes, that the people will not see?
Yes, you can. So let me show you on that too. Let's see. Notes are down here. So you can do, you have different options when you're presenting, and it depends on what kind, like if you have a projector or what you're doing. But I was showing you standard before. I could do presenter view. So then this is an audience window. So you need to have it you need to have another screen in order to do it that way so that they can see both. But then you see the version with the notes. So yeah, very similar to Google Slides or to PowerPoint.
And why should we use that instead of PowerPoint or Google Slides?
The only reason that you may be interested in using it is because it has all of these templates that are pre-made that are really convenient. And again, that they're customizable. And they have, there are different ones from Google Slides. There may be more of them, I'm not sure, but there's all different ones. Like you could go in and use this one, and you can change all of these different things. So, this has this elephant, but I could put a different picture in that one. I can change every little one of these things. So it's just, I guess, just if you wanted to use these templates, that would be why you would want to use this as opposed to Google Slides, or why you might consider it as an option.
Okay.
If you're just starting from scratch, then it might not be, there's not as compelling of a reason. I wanted to point out, you might not want to do this with necessarily with a slideshow, but for something like this that we made, there are options that you could, if I click on here, you could share it to social media. If you wanted to do this, then you would need to link your social media pages. And so this is something that you could do if you wanted to share directly to your social media from Canva, then you could link your Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. And then there are also templates that are specifically for social media so that they're designed exactly to fit into these. They also have TikTok, YouTube, that sort of thing. And you can add video to all of these things. If you click on video, you can, there's some specifically for the social media. And then there's also just like a plain video, which is the HD dimensions. You can see that video messages to Facebook video is a square format, so it's a little bit different. Video collage also. So just, you want to know what you're working with, but I just wanted to show you a couple of things about editing video. You get all these templates that are like kind of entry slides for something. So if you wanted to make a short video and you wanted to have a like intro and outro slide, you could grab this. So like this one, you know, has this animated thing and it's going to tell it how long it is. You could edit the timing, like if you only want this for a couple of seconds. And you could change these. So I'm going to show you an example with a video that I have from a one of my colleagues presenting a youth services YA lit chat. So if I wanted to just, and we already have a slide, cover slide for this, of course, but if I were making one, I could do YA lit chat. And of course I can customize the font, the color, any of these with Sahara. And then I could add the video. So I'm going to go to my uploads again. And this is one that I already uploaded before, but I can just drag it over here. If I do click on here, and then I go to the one with the little scissors, I can trim it. Like at the end, she's going to turn the camera off. So I can just grab at the end and trim back till she's done there. And then again, if I go to play, it'll play the intro and then it'll go to her. When I'm talking about some of the limitations with videos, like I said, there aren't transitions to make fade ins and fade outs. And I can't put, I can't have 2 tracks, so I can't have sort of an A roll and B roll. There is an option to add audio, which is cool. And they have a lot of free audio that you can use over here. And you can test them out right here. But another limitation that I found is, so I just drag it. I just drag the one that I want to use. And you can change where it starts. Whatever it's playing is this colored part. But one of the limitations seems to be that you can't make it shorter. So it's automatically playing the entire length of the program. So like I'm not able to just have the music over the intro.
I have a question. I want to be sure that I could well. For example, I am making a video with my camera.
Yeah.
And plan to put that on Canvas in order to put that after on Facebook or
Sure.
Facebook. So the video that I will take with my camera, I will be able to do that shorter. But can I cut part of the video?
Can you cut part of it?
Yes.
Yeah, but if you wanted to cut a part in the middle, you'd have to add it twice. So for instance, with this one, if I'm clicking, if I do the crop, I can only crop at the beginning or the end. So I could just use this part and then I could create, and then I could go back to the uploads to my videos and then just drag it down here again to the next slide. And then on this one, somehow it keeps getting in twice. I don't want that. And then I could cut a different part of it over here. So you'd have to know what you want. But then when I play this, go back to the beginning. And this is what I'm saying, the music goes over all of it. And so then that was the cut. So you have to, it's not totally smooth, but you can do it that way by adding it more than one time and then cutting the parts that you want each way. So that is one of the limitations.
Okay, but if it's okay, because if it's just a video showing something, it could work. Okay.
For sure. Yeah. And if you need 2 parts of it, you can add 2 parts of it separately, or you can just trim the length that you want.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
The other thing is that if you know that you want to do it on Facebook, you know, you can go under video, you could do a Facebook video and click on that. And then it's automatically set up to be a square format, which will fit better on the Facebook view. And there are, again, there's different versions of these templates that you can use. There are also options like under video collage where you can, there's some like I was playing with that. Let me just go home. I think it was under video collage, but where it looks like an old recording of a video of a camera on your phone, for instance. Like it has these things here, but you could click on here and you could change the type to say you could change something like that, and then I could still go back and get my video over here. But I have to drag it just right for it to fit on the, there we go. And then I could double click in there and move over, move her to where I want it. So then you could, so even these things that look like there's some things that are a little gimmicky, but kind of cool that are already formatted to look like it has the words from a video camera on them. You could do that. You could change the words. So there's a lot that you can do. This is just really a beginning to just say get in there and play, but most of these things are customizable, and there are a lot of there's learning options, there's tutorials built right in, and there's a lot of information out there available that you can Google if there's a specific thing that you want to find. I was able to find a lot of information that way. And we are getting near time, so I want to stop the demo pretty soon. Is there anything that anybody has a question with or wants to see before I move out of Canva?
But if we do some work on that, it's better to keep it PDF to be sure to find it in the long term, no?
I think so. Go ahead.
Because if tomorrow, Kayla, you present Canvas, maybe it's good for 1-2 years, I don't know, and after it will be another app. So
I think I do agree. Like if there's anything that you're really attached to and want to make sure you have a record of, I would definitely recommend saving as a PDF. The only thing about that is that you aren't able to go back and make those customizations to change it again if you wanted to. So it's kind of nice that you can have it both, like you can save the finished version as a PDF, but then if I wanted to go back into this postcard later and realize that I wanted to like, say congratulations, like change this to something else and like make a happy birthday.
Yes.
I already have it in there. So I misspelled birthday. So, you can just, it's nice to have both. It's nice to have both options.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? So let me go ahead and go back to the end of my slideshow. And so here are some resources. The website for Canva is easy to navigate to, and the website for Creative Experience is right there. If you go to slpl.org, and then in the footer of slpl.org, you'll find under services, you'll find Creative Experience. And then here's a link to our YouTube channel. And again, then I'll send this out so you guys have the hyperlink. If you're watching today live, if you're watching on YouTube, you found it, but you can also find it by searching Creative Experience St. Louis Public Library, because St. Louis Public Library has a separate YouTube channel for the whole library, and then we have one that's specific to Creative Experience where we have all of these programs. And so this was the final session, but the other ones that you can find on the YouTube are Adobe Spark, we did first, then we did Bear Audio Editor, we did Pattern Sketch, and then last time we did Vector and Vectorizer, which are two vector graphics programs. And I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the recording. Is there anything anyone wants to ask before we do that? All right, thank you all for coming today.